or the bullet, freedom or death. We gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking? Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting a fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty, watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing, no more selling out. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 2026, and you already know how I do, play independent music. So this morning I got Don Tripp, The Proud Family, featuring Jay Fitz, and I'll be right back right after this.
Sometimes we go through internal battles and internal conflicts, and no one sees but us. I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Please keep your head up, who gives a fuck if they look down on you? How I'm supposed to count on you if you can't be accountable? That's why I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. You shook that addiction and I know that shit was hard to do. You shook that addiction and I know it felt impossible. One day at a time, I got faith in you. All that weight they placed on you, we can't win them all, although I know how much we hate to lose. You been through shit I only heard about, only word of mouth. If only we all had a place where we can sit our burdens down. I can't say too much cause it ain't my story to tell, but I wrote this so you know how much I care. Yeah, I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. I think we grow stronger every time we suffer battle wounds. I know you ain't perfect, you did what you thought you had to do. How could I be mad at you? I'm so fucking proud of you. When you hit rock bottom, you saw all your friends abandon you. That shit made you tough as fucking well, that's understandable. Say you been through hell and back and that shit made you flammable. You got sick and tired of being sick, we tired of campus soup. Growing up, my auntie and my uncles was all addicts. Shit was tragic and my mama barely managed and she couldn't locate my daddy. So of course I end up trapping out of all the cuts in Alice 17. Jumping right inside the game like Milton Bradley. I'm so broken up, I start having kids and then my aunt and uncle sobered up. I think that shit cold as fuck. Now my babies get to see a version I ain't get to see. That's an experience that I ain't know I needed. I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, know they proud of me, I'm so fucking, yeah. I'm so proud of you.
Went to bed bed thinking about how far I've come. Woke up feeling marvelous. At times I can't believe it. I'm a husband and a father, bro. We rode around so deep. Used to be so squatted up, then came a long way from treating that marquee like a party bus. Considering where I started from, I enjoy this way I'm living. Straight up out the trenches, nigga. I come out of Parkway Village. Went from getting $20 checks to making six figures. Feeling like J-Man, I can't lie, boy, this hit different. Spoke it into existence. This life I designed for me. Dressed it up and kept it real. And threw on some designer sneaks. Talked to God, told him tell my mama to keep an eye on me. I'm looking up to heaven. I'm like, girl, I hope you proud of me. And Craig keep passing me the ball. Say, brother, take a shot at least. Now I be, damn, look at that. I done shot like 3. Now come take some shots with me and treat this like an open bar. But I can't stay and kick it for too long, cause I got work tomorrow.
I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, know they proud of me, I'm so fucking, yeah. Know you proud of me, but I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Please keep your head up, who gives a fuck if they look down on you? How I'm supposed to count on you if you can't be accountable? That's why I'm so proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. I'm so fucking proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. I think we grow stronger every time we suffer battle wounds. I know you ain't perfect, you did what you thought you had to do. How could I be mad at you? I'm so fucking proud of you, I'm so fucking proud of you. Yeah, I'm so fucking.
It was Don Tripp, the Proud Family featuring Jay Fitz. This morning, I really want to talk about a few different things. I know we're going into 2026, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, and that's why I named this podcast the Disenfranchised Voter, because I do feel it disenfranchised. Uh, there's a lot of things that both parties that I agree with. Uh, but when they can't be accountable for their actions, where does that sit the disenfranchised people? Because there's a lot of people in America and even in Minnesota that are neither party. But that's how all this runs. That's how politics runs. Uh, there is no bipartisanship. You're either all the way left, or you're moderate, or you're in the middle. You know what I'm saying? They got labels for and titles for everything. Now, where does that fit the average person? Because all our education levels and how we process information, how we process stories, because everybody is different. We all have, and that's one thing that I really feel like when you look at the state capitol, it's not, they're not there for everybody, because everybody in Minnesota is not being thought about, being talked about, because there's a lot of things right now. And this is the crazy thing for me, right? Is Minnesota, we're so strung out on the Somalis, and it's crazy because now that we talk about fraud in Minnesota, the Somalis are it. We're not talking about how in Minneapolis or in Minnesota, period, this has gone on for years. It's not just a one party problem. It's not. It's not even a bipartisan solution, because at the end of the day, the only thing that is going to fix any of this is accountability. We're not going to, it doesn't matter if we get a new governor. If people aren't held accountable, if people aren't accountable themselves, we're not going to get change. Because I can tell you right now that our system is so messed up. So messed up. And people act like getting a new governor is going to fix it. It's not. Because we're not just talking about child care. We're not just talking about immigration. We're talking about drugs in communities that there shouldn't be. We're talking about gun violence. We're talking about education because everything fits together. So how can we expect a change in our communities when the people that we're electing don't even live in our communities? They're not in. This is the one thing that really, really trips me out. And because when you look at the legislature, right, and the session is coming up, and you're going to see the same regular faces. So if we're talking to the same people and we haven't seen change in years, nothing has been reformed, right? Nothing has been really hashed out because you still have people that are behind bars who are innocent. You still have police that are out here killing. And that's the one thing that I want people to realize. It's not just MPD. Because if you're looking at ICE and police as two different things, you're part of the problem. Let's be honest here. You're part of the problem because there is no difference. They're all law enforcement agencies. Homeland Security, they're all law enforcement agencies. So how can y'all be fuck 12? But now we're cool with the police, but we're just talking about the ICE agents. Like, come on, man, be serious. There's no difference. Only difference between them is that one is federal and the other one is state. That's the only difference between them. The only difference. So why are we more lenient right now on state patrol, police officers, but then we want to be all gung-ho when it comes to these ICE agents? That shit trips me out, man. And it shows you, and I hope that people are realizing this, is that change, there's a lot of people out here that are following blind sheep, that are following false prophets. So how can you expect change from that? Because if the roots are bad, how can you not expect the seeds? I really, really want people to think about this, because I'm going to talk about Walz not running for a third re-election today. And Amy Klobuchar is probably going to run. And my thing to people in Minnesota, when it comes to especially the Black community, why should we vote for Amy when we know, you know what, maybe a lot of people don't know, but there is a large population of people that know that Amy was a big influence on how innocent people were getting locked up for political motivation. So how can we agree with that? I don't understand that. How can we not be sitting here wanting transparency? How can we not sit here and want the truth? Because don't that matter at the end of the day? Or is that just a narrative? So I haven't watched this, so I wanted to watch this with you guys. But this is Michelle Bachmann, and she sat down with Liz Collins and had a conversation and thought they could, or not even thought, but that we need a forensic audit. And I do believe that is something that we do need, and it needs to be independent. It needs to be independent. It can't be partisan, because then we're never going to get to the truth. Because it's always going to be, this is the one thing that I really want people to understand, right? And even me, myself, I'm starting to more get it, is even when people say they're independent, they're not. Because I'll tell you right now that when it comes to our media, our journalists, you're either left or right. There is no in between anymore for nobody, because they're either right wing or they're considered left. So where do we get the truth? That's what I really want people to understand, is like, where do we go to get the truth? If everybody has some kind of agenda, because everybody's paid. This is the one thing that I really want people to think about, right? Because even me, myself, I'm having this same thing, right? It's crazy how we put people in such categories that they're either left or right. And that's wild to me. So, like, if people are already putting dividers in there, right? Oh, well, this is left, so don't listen to him. Or he's right wing, so we definitely can't listen to him. And it's like, wait, so where are we gonna go get the truth? Where are we gonna go get that transparency? That's what I really want people to think about, right? If you have, because I really want to put this out here, right? Even when it comes to Georgia Ford, it comes to Black Press, it comes to Listen Media or Out Front, you see them covering shit from a leftist point of view. Even Mercado, everybody is paid some way, somehow. And that's what people never want to talk about. They never want to discuss that. So how are you independent if right away when a conversation starts and your rebuttal isn't independent, they're left or right wing talking points? So that's what I really want people to sit here and think about, right? Is where do we go to get the truth? That's what I really want people to think about. Where do we go to get the truth?
A forensic audit of the state budget. Former Minnesota Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann joins me next. Michelle Bachmann is a former U.S. Congresswoman who represented Minnesota's 6th District from 2007 until 2015, and a former Republican presidential candidate in 2012 who is now serving as a dean at Regent University. Mrs. Bachmann, thank you for joining me. So good to see you.
Thank you, Liz. A pleasure to be with you.
Well, as you know, fraud in Minnesota, it's been making national headlines, and the attention, it seems in many ways, is long overdue. And as part of our continued reporting, Alpha News has been taking an even closer look at the warning signs, the missteps to explain how things were allowed to get this bad. Your name has popped up a few times, I know, in our newsroom, but in many ways, you were helping to sound the alarm even more than a decade ago.
Minnesota provides a stunning example of how states are failing to properly ensure the appropriate use of taxpayer dollars spent on Medicaid managed care. This is something we are not proud of.
The worst state to live in right now is Minnesota, and nobody's talking about it. I've spent 30 years in the insurance industry. What I'm about to tell you will explain why Minnesota pays more for car insurance and how you could fix it and save up to 80% on your rate. Let me make this simple. If you're paying over $75 a month, you're being overcharged.
So now that federal agencies are moving in and federal investigations are underway, what is your perspective? What do you make of these recent developments?
This really was an open secret. People all across Minnesota, many of them knew about this. And I was concerned really before even it went into state government. I had served as a federal tax litigation attorney. And even in my training as a tax litigation attorney, we were told about the fraud that's available, the fact that there were certain people and people groups that didn't value honesty, and that we would have to do different types of investigations. So I was aware of it even back to that time during my time in the Minnesota State Senate and in the Congress. So I'm very grateful that finally this is getting national attention. But there's a precursor to all of that, and it's Minnesota big government. We were always told what a wonderful, compassionate thing the giant government welfare state was, that we had such a big heart here in Minnesota. The fact is, a lot of this may have begun as compassion, but what it quickly grew into was an industry that was fleecing the taxpayers, and ultimately it's come to the point of being an outright scam and a fraud. And I saw this particularly when I was in the state Senate. We would have one group after another come before our committees and asking for fundings. And the interesting thing is, all of the groups tended to be progressive. You didn't see a conservative group come to get funding as a nonprofit, because here's the dirty secret that people don't understand about Minnesota. Progressive lawmakers have been inflating Minnesota's budget so they can create grants to fund nonprofits that ultimately are for their friends, for their supporters, for their constituent groups. So our state budget is a pass-through entity. It's a financial funnel that goes from federal money, state money to local money, but it goes through nonprofits. So friends of the progressives in Minnesota, who for decades have run this state, they create a nonprofit, they register it with the Minnesota Secretary of State, and then all of a sudden they can receive funding. A lot of these jobs are no work.
Hold on a minute, right? Because this is something that me and Robert have talked about for a very, very long time, is that people will start businesses and go to the state capitol and ask for money. It's the same thing when it comes to nonprofits, right? So how can we take people serious if they continue doing the same old things? And that's what I don't understand. And that's the crazy part for me, is that people have looked the other way or been a part of it. So they believe that they think that it's right, even though it's wrong. And that's the part that I really want people to understand, is that even though there's all these people over here thinking like, oh, we're doing the same thing, so that means it's okay. No, what you're doing is wrong. It doesn't make it right. So that's what I want people to know and to think about.
Jobs. So we are now not just fraud, but we're an intentional scam that's been going on for decades and decades in Minnesota. And the welfare state has not bought compassion. What it's bought is a giant government-funded bureaucracy that's mean. It's mean, it's angry. It's angry that it's been found out. And we have the name Somali in front of it because they've been egregious, many of them in terms of the fraud in Minnesota. But it predates that by a lot. And it's all of the fellow travelers that have gone on with the progressives here in the state of Minnesota. That's what unchecked one-party rule will do to a state.
I think that's such a good point, bringing up your experience as a state senator, so you were able to see it from that angle. But you were there for 6 years in this state Senate before serving in Congress. And expand on that a little bit more, how this is really baked into the legislation in so many ways. We're almost in favor of fraud in Minnesota. And it's why you're actually calling for a forensic audit of the Minnesota state budget here.
It is, of the entire budget. We are so now over the top in Minnesota with the funding that we have. The money that we spend in Minnesota is completely out of proportion to our population. Our population is maybe 5.7 million people, but we have a gigantic budget. Many people still don't know that when the Democrats controlled the Minnesota government in 2020,
And B, whoops, I know this shit. That's crazy. I muted myself. Whoops. But it's really crazy because what they're talking about with this forensic audit is we are spending way more money for programs that were either started by COVID or they were only supposed to be like one time or for a little while and not forever, but they want to make it forever. And we're going to see that we're going to put out, and we're starting to see, is that Minnesota is putting out more money than it's taking in. And I think that's what people really need to have a conversation about. They need to sit down and talk to loved ones, talk to their friends, and be like, hey, is this what we really needed in Minnesota? We have to stand up and be like, hey, this is wrong. And calling some shit out doesn't make you a racist. It doesn't make you Islamophobic. It doesn't make you transphobic. It doesn't make you homophobic. See, and that's the type of things that people like to be, I'm not going to call slander, be distracted. That's how they like to distract us. It's never about facts. It's never about truths. It's always something. That's the crazy part. It's always name calling because they can't respond back to anything or even intelligently respond back to a person. It's always about calling a person a name. It's never about what the subject is about. And that's that distract and deflect tactic.
23, they exploded our state government by 40%. And literally in 2 months, the Democrats, and not just Tim Walz, all of the Democrats blew through $18 billion and then committed us, the taxpayers, in the future that we're going to have unending tax increases because, as you said, Liz, they baked in the increase of spending 40%. Nobody's income went up 40%. But again, where is this money going for? It's not a compassionate welfare state. In my opinion, this is scam and fraud after scam and fraud. I'm glad the federal government is involved. We need a top to bottom statewide audit.
I want to highlight this new law that went into effect on January 1st, this new paid leave program. It allows employees up to 20 weeks of paid leave a year, already coming under fire. Do you think this will be the final straw for small business owners and taxpayers for that matter?
This is the year that you're going to see the backbone of Minnesota's economy crash and burn, and that's small businesses. Generally speaking, small business provides about 85% of all jobs. Well, it's almost impossible. The deck is stacked now against a small or medium employer. This is how bad it is. It is up to the election of the employee. They get to decide. So if they have a bad hair day, they're going to stay home that day. If they need a mental health break, they're going to stay home that day. Up to 5 months a year. And that's while they're getting paid. So the employer has to continually pay into this fund. The employee pays into a fund. This was set up for fraud. There's no question. But the problem is the casualty will be our economy. Businesses are going to blow. No small business can deal with this. No medium-sized business can deal with this. Because again, all of the accountability is on the employer. I've never seen anything like this. What happened in that 2023 legislative session really is the basis of destroying the state of Minnesota. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but they put in place mechanisms to destroy small and big business. They also put into place the fact that we will lose all energy sources in a cold state. You and I are having this interview in January in Minnesota. And in just a couple of years, we'll only be allowed to get our energy from wind and solar. Well, let me tell you, I have solar panels on the top of my roof. They're covered with snow right now. So these systems will not be working for Minnesota. It's not going to be funny. People are going to see their electric bills jump by at least a factor of 8. This is a destination of destruction for the people of Minnesota. And this all happened because we have completely unaccountable one-party rule. And we need an audit. We are desperate for an audit in the state of Minnesota. We can't trust the Democrats to police themselves. That we've gotten into this place where we are. And again, I'm not trying to be partisan, this could happen with one party rule. But I'm really sorry to say I grew up in this state. I love this state. It was at one time the most magnificent place in the country to live, but we're very different now. We aren't that former Minnesota that we used to be.
You know, it seems politics is one thing. We have this legislation, that's another. What role do you think the mainstream media of Minnesota has played in this? And I think we're actually seeing this quite glaringly under the national spotlight of fraud at the moment.
Decades again, where we saw the Minneapolis Star Tribune completely biased, the Pioneer Press, even the local TV and radio stations. They didn't want to cover any of these stories. They were all buddy and friends with the people who were controlling the states. And so if you're going to cocktail parties with the people who are governing the state of Minnesota, and then a lot of the lobbyists and the business groups were Democrats. And so they were all working together as one team to cover this all up and then to beat up the taxpayers. Like the taxpayers are the problem. We're not giving enough in our taxes. What are we doing complaining about taxes? Give more, give more. Minnesota's different. Minnesotans have learned, don't resist. Just sit back, shut up, don't say anything. Keep opening your wallet, keep paying. I think now people are starting to see we've been lied to. You bet we've been lied to. We've been scammed. So we can't sit back and worry that we're going to be called a racist in all of this. I went to the U.S. State Department and I asked about all the what I saw is the Somali fraud, if you want to call it that, in Minnesota. I called in the U.S. State Department, the UN, when I was in Congress, to try to get to the bottom of why is Minnesota getting all of the Somalis? Why are they all coming here? The bottom line is Minnesota is the most generous welfare state of all 50 states. We spend more than any other state. Plus, at least for a period of time, I don't know if it's true presently, but at least for a period of time, we gave an additional $3,500 per person who came into the state of Minnesota from the refugee resettlement program. So we sweetened the pot. It's almost like we wanted impoverished people that had nothing in common with Minnesota.
That's the quiet part that not many people are speaking out loud. And I do believe that is a conversation that we need to have. It's because people were paid resettlement fees. So the more people they brought in, the more money they received. So that's why you see all this influx. And it's not just Somalians, it's your Ukrainians, it's Laos, it's Hmong. We've done this over time. And other groups have been able to profit off it. So when are we as Minnesotans going to stand up and say this has been going on for so long and we need to stop it? We need to be able to get to the bottom, because it didn't start with Walz and then finish with Walz. Only that's what people don't understand, is that this has been going on for many, many years.
To come here. And I think part of the reason is we had such a huge welfare state. They wanted clients that they could attend to. So the biggest part of the welfare state is the Minnesota bureaucracy. You can't defend the welfare state in Minnesota anymore. And now we're at the point of being an embarrassment. That's not because of the people of Minnesota. It's because of the government in Minnesota. And the government in Minnesota has to change, or we won't have a state anymore. We're going to be broke and bankrupt.
You know, with all that in mind, Alpha News readers, many others, you see it yourself, I know, they've been calling for arrests, indictments of several elected officials in Minnesota. I know it's impossible to predict the future. How do you think this will all play out? Let's leave us with some hope, I guess, here, Congresswoman.
Well, the hope is I never believed that this story would gain as much traction as it did on a national level and be the number one story in America for as long as it is. And we've actually seen action taken almost every one of these programs has a federal hook in it, the money. So we're going to see the federal government involvement for a long time. Kash Patel, the FBI is here and involved. And I don't think this is just going to go away. I think this is going to stay at the top of the heap. And again, what we need more than anything is a forensic audit of the entire Minnesota budget, because we've only seen maybe a few percentage points of the egregious fraud in Minnesota. There's so much more there, more to come.
Michelle Bachmann, thank you so much for your time.
That is an interesting point. And that is definitely something that needs to be done in Minnesota, because it's not just daycares. There is all kind of fraud in Minnesota, no matter if it came to PPP loans, no matter if it came to unemployment, arms, peer recovery specialists. It was all over Minnesota with PCAs, Medicaid, and now people are paying the price. Even though I will say it like this, I know a lot of people are blaming the Somalians right now, and they shouldn't. Because to be honest, they perfected the fraud, but the fraud has already been here for years. It has, and it's been right in front of our eyes. And a lot of people are either, one, too scared to say anything. And I'll say another thing. You're not going to bite the hand that has been feeding you. All you got to do is look at the Miami of the North in Minnesota and Casey Ramirez, and already know that the cartel has already been here for years. Because that is a nation. That's the one story that I can go back onto to show people that there has been corruption, that there has been selfish politicians, lawmakers that were only in it for themselves. That has been the history of Minnesota. That's all embedded in our history, and people still don't want to talk about it. We have politicians right now that are mayors, city council, school board, that think they're above the law. And because we don't do nothing as people, that's the one thing. And I was sitting here watching, and I really don't want to talk about this because I'm American and I don't really have a say. I'm not up in a totem pole where my opinion is factored into it. This whole Venezuela thing is really showing what people stand for. And it's not something, it's showing that it's anything. And I want people to really, really look at this and just look at it and see these people are not standing up to something. They stand up for anything. If this isn't showing Minnesota, and especially America, because this became national news. We've become national news. It started, that's the crazy part. And I know Nick Shirley is patting himself on the back, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about views, clicks, and feelings, right? We want facts. We want facts. We want transparency and truth, because I can tell you right now is that maybe Nick Shirley's video did put a spotlight, because it does have over 100 million views. I will give it its credit. But that just shows you what Minnesota and America pays attention to. Drama. Because what has came out of that video? Drama. We're not getting facts. Because I can tell you, we're not getting facts. Because it's crazy as hell how yesterday they did a little interview going into the quality learning center. They had kids all in there. And it's like, okay, who gives a fuck about that? Because y'all were blasted for not having kids. Now you want to do press conferences and all other kind of shit with kids in there. How is that not staged? How is that not performative actions? That's what I don't understand. Is how is that not a performative action? So I want to talk about because he will not seek a third election, re-election, third term, whatever you want to call it. And I think people really need to stand up. This is telling us right now that there is no time like ever, because I'm going to say it again, if not us, then who? If not us, then who? I really want people to embed that in their brain. If not us, then who? And if not right now, when? Because when will ever be the right time for people to stand up on their morals and values? Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of shit that goes on in America that goes on and people maybe look the other way because it's their family or their friends or they're getting some kind of benefit from it. So to them, it's okay. But then when that shit hits in your own home or at your front door, then niggas want to get mad. That's what I get frustrated about, right? Because it seems like Minnesotans only get mad when it's already too late. Because when niggas was setting the alarms and screaming at the top of their lungs, we were labeled. We were labeled. And when we were doing shit by any means necessary, the same people that we like to call allies or friends, that's when you really started to notice that these people were not your friends. They weren't your allies. Because I'm going to tell you right now, what I felt like when people say they're an ally to me is that you're going to tell me all lies. I want a comrade. I don't want an ally. I want an accomplice. Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take niggas wanting to be accomplices and not allies. Because I want people to realize there is a big fucking difference. There's a big ass difference. And if people haven't realized that yet, we're so fucked up. So this is about Walz.
Governor Walz officially no longer a gubernatorial candidate, announcing today he is ending his historic bid for a third term. This move comes amid growing pressure on Walz, with Minnesota in the national spotlight because of growing fraud allegations within state programs. We have team coverage of this political shakeup, beginning with Danny Spiewak, who covered the governor's announcement this morning at the Capitol. Danny?
Well, the governor acknowledged this morning, reading a statement to the press, that it was all the attention around the fraud issue in Minnesota that really has driven him from this race in November 2026, why he's not going to be seeking a third term later this year. He accused Republicans of weaponizing the issue for political gain, but his exit now opens the door for other prominent Democrats, such as Amy Klobuchar, the U.S. Senator, who is, according to sources, strongly considering a run.
I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket.
A little more than a year ago, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was on the cusp of becoming the nation's vice president. But on Monday,
Well, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year.
the governor announced he will drop his re-election bid in November and leave office at the end of this term.
2026 is an election year. Election years have a way of ramping up the politics at a time when we simply can't afford more of that in Minnesota.
Walz launched his campaign for a third term back in September. But since then, his administration's response to fraud has been put under a national microscope. While Carol Evan has been reporting on fraud involving Medicaid and other programs for years, President Trump amplified the issue in late November when he began referencing fraud committed by defendants of Somali heritage in his attacks on the broader Somali American community in Minnesota.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
For weeks, fraud in Minnesota has dominated headlines, accelerated even further by a conservative influencer's viral video about Minnesota daycare sites, posted shortly before the new year.
My administration has been taking fast, decisive action to solve this crisis. We'll win the fight against the fraudsters. But the political gamesmanship we're seeing from Republicans is only making that fight harder.
Walz gave very little insight into how he arrived at this decision or whether he consulted with any allies.
I'm passing on this race with zero sadness and zero regret. I did not run for this job to have the job. I ran for the job to do the job.
Walz left the podium without answering questions from the press, saying we would have to wait until Tuesday.
And at that time, I'll take all your questions. Thank you all.
Thank you, press. More tomorrow. Appreciate it.
So now it really is all eyes on Senator Amy Klobuchar. She did post on social media today praising Governor Walz's record of public service, saying that she knew his decision not to seek re-election was a difficult one, but she did not confirm anything about whether she does plan to run for governor later this year or not.
Now, Amy hasn't announced or anything like that, but actually no Democrat has actually announced that they're running for governor, and that's kind of crazy. I think this week you'll see a couple of candidates, maybe even at least one big name, but I think you will see, and that'll be definitely wasn't on my bingo. Definitely, I didn't think that was going to happen. Now, people are talking about it in the streets, and that's what I want to show you right now is that KSTP did go around and talk to people in the community in St. Paul.
Minnesota voters are now reacting to the governor's decision not to run.
Joe Mason is live in St. Paul with this part of the story. Joe, what did you hear from folks?
Lindsay, this coffee shop here on Grand Avenue just closed a few minutes ago. The governor big announcement was a big talker here today and a big talker all around town. On this day at Gent Cuts and Grooming on St. Paul's Grand Avenue.
They want to poison our people against each other.
Style on heads was mixed with politics on screens.
The buck stops at the top. Politics is dirty business.
David Brandner wasn't surprised by Governor Walz stepping out of the race.
Right now, Minnesota doesn't look good nationally. And unfortunately, Tim Walz is the head of the state.
We can work together to rebuild the public's trust.
Dan Jargo believes the governor wouldn't get reelected with the state facing a welfare fraud scandal.
I was disappointed, but not surprised. I think too much has happened. I don't think he's going to win. So we need to have somebody there that can.
Nearby at Bread and Chocolate, talk of Walz's announcement brewed up like a hot cup of coffee.
I'm happy that he's not running because of the circumstances right now, but I loved him as my governor.
Gene O'Connor wouldn't use the word surprised by Walz's decision.
Relieved is a better word. That I think the race could have been very problematic otherwise, and I'm a staunch Democrat.
Gene's friend Faye Wilson agrees.
And my first reaction was, yes, Tim, good for you, because I would have voted for him no matter what, but like Jeannie, I was afraid he may not win the election.
But the political gamesmanship.
Back at the barbershop, those here knew they were watching the end of the Walz era.
There's some elements about him that are likable. I think his heart's generally been in the right place. But when you have this kind of mismanagement of funds, it ultimately reflects negatively.
Now, we're right around the corner from the governor's mansion. The manager here says Tim Walz does come in on occasion to grab a cup of coffee. He's always welcome here, whether he has the title of governor or not. Live in St. Paul, Joe Mason, 5 Eyewitness News.
I think that it's an eye-opener there of hearing people say that they would have voted for Walz no matter what. That just shows you that we probably weren't going to get no kind of real change anyways, because people are so used to the regular bullshit. Let's be honest. They're used to it. They're used to the chaos. They're used to the turmoil. But I really do believe that in some people's eyes, when it comes, especially in the Twin Cities, that they'll vote Democrat no matter what. Doesn't matter who, just like you heard that lady and her friends say, they would have voted for Walz no matter what. I really do believe that there's a lot of people in Minnesota, especially inside the Twin Cities, Rochester, Duluth, St. Cloud, that probably would have voted for Walz because they are staunch Democrats. So how do you reach out to people that no matter what they seen, no matter what they heard, they're going to keep on voting the same way? How do you get change? How do you get into the head of people that continue doing that think that that's the way to get change? That's the way that we get to the bottom of this. And that's not. We need a change. And that's what I will never understand when it comes to Minnesotans, especially inside the Twin Cities. So here is, I want to talk about Hilton Hotels. This has been big news in the Twin Cities in the last day or two. I'd say 2 days. Is that Hilton in Lakeville canceled some DHS ICE reservations. And Hilton has came out and stated that there was an apology, I guess, but supposedly none of that shit was true. And we will get into that. And so I want you to see this whole little story about Hilton Hotels.
Of hundreds of Department of Homeland Security agents to Minneapolis to investigate reports of massive fraud. DHS is deploying roughly 2,000 agents, including hundreds of officers from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to oversee the 30-day surge in operations. The deployment does represent one of the largest concentrations of DHS personnel in an American city in recent years. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said DHS has surged law enforcement and has already made more than 1,000 arrests of murderers, rapists, pedophiles, and gang members. And as those government employees do look for housing arrangements there in Minnesota, a local Hilton in Minneapolis is facing a massive firestorm online after allegedly canceling reservations for federal immigration agents. National News Desk's Angela Brown is looking into this. And boy, was there a lot of comments on social media about this.
Yeah, and DHS, Homeland Security, coming with the receipts here, the emails they say they got their hands on. They're calling this unacceptable, questioning why Hilton Hotels would, in their view, deliberately undermine and impede DHS law enforcement from carrying out its mission to enforce our immigration laws.
Here's the email shared by Homeland Security on X that appears to come from the Hampton Inn Lakeville property in the Minneapolis area, canceling a reservation, saying, "We have noticed an influx of government reservations made today that have been from DHS, and we are not allowing any ICE or immigration agents to stay on our property." Homeland Security responding, when officers attempted to book rooms using official government emails and rates, Hilton Hotels maliciously canceled their reservations. This is unacceptable. Meanwhile, Hilton is separating itself from that location, saying it's investigating, while also pointing out that location is independently owned and operated and that their actions are not reflective of Hilton values. The management company that runs the Hampton Inn, Everpeak Hospitality, also released a statement on their website saying, in part, Everpeak Hospitality has moved swiftly to address this matter. It was inconsistent with our policy of being a welcoming place for all. We are in touch with the impacted guests to ensure they are accommodated. But late Monday night, the Assistant Secretary for DHS said that DHS and ICE have not heard anything from them.
And as Jan just talked about, the allegations come as the Trump administration is surging DHS resources to the Minneapolis area, a reported crackdown that could involve up to 2,000 agents.
Hi, my name is Tammy.
So they did go, I shouldn't say they, somebody did attempt to go to that Hilton last night. And here's a video, and this is Nick Sorter, but he was there. So let's watch it. It's not Lakewood, it's Lakeville.
That is straight up black ice. Hello, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Do you have any rooms for tonight?
We should, yeah.
Okay. Like how many? Could we get like 10?
10?
I mean, yeah, I know that might be.
Did you already make reservations by any chance?
No.
No? What's
First.
the name?
It would be just Nick. I'll just put it under my personal. I don't know if you can use a government rate or not, but.
Let's see. It depends because there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Is it, what agency is it for? Using the government rate?
They'd be Department of Homeland Security.
So they're not accepting people from immigration, ICE agents, DHS into our property. It's just the management ownership.
Okay, I thought that changed today. Was that?
I just talked to my the owner of the building, and he didn't say there has been any changes. So
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it's just policy, you know that.
Yeah, I mean
they
that's
say.
not your fault. Totally,
Yeah.
totally get that. So they actually said that was like, I mean, honestly, this is the most convenient location. So it's
Right.
like, so they told you no, that there's no.
Yeah, no immigration.
Well, DHS isn't all.
Yeah.
Immigration. Okay.
So,
Okay. So even with the thing that they said earlier, where they mentioned that there was a statement that they put out, you know, saying that they accept everybody and. Well, here
I haven't been informed. I could call my owner right now if you want.
Yeah.
And ask him what's.
That'd probably be good. Just trying to figure it out. So because it said somebody said, I didn't know it was this location, but Ever Peak Hospitality, right?
I'm new here,
Okay.
so I don't really know what's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'll just call him. Ask
Yeah,
him,
that's
see what's.
fine. That's pretty good.
There's been any.
Just to be clear, like I'm
Right,
not
no,
trying
yeah,
to cause
I
any
understand.
problems. It's just
Right,
like
no,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
11 o'clock now,
Right.
so
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
get it.
checking.
Yeah. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so nobody's answering my calls right now because of the time. But
Gotcha. Okay, so this is Everpeak though, and they said Everpeak Hospitality has moved swiftly to address this matter as it was inconsistent with our policy of being a welcoming place for all. We are in touch with the impacted guests to ensure they are accommodated. We don't discriminate against any individuals or agencies and apologize to those impacted. It's kind of long. I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I thought we were good to go. Like I said, not everybody with DHS is immigration. That's just
right, yeah, I get that, but it's
It's also a fraud investigation. I guess we'll just say as well. But,
yeah, but
okay, no problem at all. Okay.
yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Not your fault.
Answer the phone.
Damn.
All right. So they lied. Hilton.
Damn, we almost ate it again.
And the Hampton Inn out here in Everpeak Hospitality lied. Full of shit. And now they are going to, well, let's just say they effed around and it's find out time. They almost got a little bit of a pass the first time, right? You thought they may have learned their lesson. And this is why I said that their talk it means nothing. You know, people were saying, oh, well, no, they said that they're going to change their policy. They lied. They didn't do it. So, they're now going to get Bud Lighted. Congratulations, Hilton. You can take, Hilton, you can take your name off that sign tomorrow. Today, you can.
Man, that's crazy. So, and they did make a statement this morning that they were going to take all things that were by Hilton, they were going to take off. So I'm not surprised. I don't think really too many people are. A lot of people knew what they wanted to do, what they were going to try to do. Now I want to shift for a second to something else, and that I feel like a lot of people need to understand, especially when it comes to Minnesotans, right? So when the Feeding Our Future fraud was really popularized, a lot of people were asking questions. And so instead of actually being responsible and being accountable, they just moved them. They didn't fire them. They didn't suspend them or anything like that. They just moved them over to the Office of Cannabis Management. And that is something that I do feel like in Minnesota, we need to talk about. We need to talk about sincerely. So I wanted to play something from Our Black News with Don Allen. And they talked about, well, Mark Coran was on there as well. And he spotlighted that the same people who are at MDE now operate the Office of Cannabis Management. So how can we not expect fraud?
That's got to sell herself to the black community.
I agree.
That woman cannot run for governor and not come in the black community. If she does, Mark, I will be the worst thing that the Republican Party ever seen. I promise you that.
Rev, you and I agree, 100%.
I promise you that.
One of the areas about and just kind of about the benefit the black population, right, around cannabis, the decriminalization. By the way, some unique ties to that, to our entire conversation. Those running OCM today are the people who ran Feeding Our Future inside Department of MDE.
No!
MDE.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. I'm not going.
No.
It is. It is. It is.
I gotta go.
It is, bro.
I gotta go. You should have said that at the beginning of this show, Mark.
I was trying.
You did that on purpose to save Don, because you know I was going to be going off. He did it on purpose, Don. He did it on purpose. Hey, fam, I gotta go though. I got a birthday party to get. I got to get all the way to Maple Grove to my grandson's birthday party.
All right, man. Have fun.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Okay.
Bye now.
Okay, let's put on the brakes and back up real quick. The people who ran, this is breaking news, the people who ran Feeding the Future inside of MDE are now running what?
OCM, Office of Cannabis Management. So
I knew they were high.
The lead attorney, and you look exactly what they did. They sold that, and part of that, my statement was, right, they sold it on, we're exclusively, we're going after the to benefit the black community, OCM, right, or the legalization of cannabis. We're going to do all these things, help micro entrepreneurs, businesses, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Every politically aligned person got not only a cannabis license, a dispensary license, multiple licenses, and they're almost guaranteed. And it's like, gee, that the friends and family plan, and they got favored status outside of them rewarding, right? Think about it. They took 55 licenses. They gave them right to the tribes to put them right in anywhere they can, anywhere they choose to, Minneapolis or otherwise. They sold it on the backs of the black population, and has done nothing to benefit the black population as they designed, because they promise, right? They're promising everything to everybody, but again, follow what they do. And Rev gives me a lot of heat. Here's the reality for me. I'm not promising anything. We don't just go give anything away. That's not the role of government. The role of government is to make sure we're functionally needed to be the arbiters of equal contract management, an equal playing field, right? All that you're not paying any more taxes as an individual or your business, no more.
I want people to take that into discussion, right? Think it, store it, all that shit, right? Because I want people to look at this, right? So Dope Roots is a weed cannabis company, whatever, right? But when you see who owns it, which is Nakima, you see that what Mark Coran talked about is happening even in the weed. So how aren't these people committing fraud still? That's what, because they had a $15 million allocation at the legislature. So how isn't that what Mark just talked about? Their friends, their family. Like hey, it's not me saying it. It's the truth. It's shit that's coming out here, and people don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about why. Why? That's what I really want to ask. Why? Why don't you want to talk about it? If you're so independent, why don't you want to talk about it? So I'm gonna get up out of here, and before I do, because I know Walz got a press conference at 11:30. I gotta go use the bathroom and shit, get ready. So I'm gonna leave. But before I get up out of here, just know that I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, around 10:15. And I want people to sit here and to think about, because I'm gonna have a conversation on Thursday. Wes from Rochester, he's a Republican. we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about Mike Lindell. We're going to talk about Philip Parrish. And we're going to talk about so many other things, especially what's going on in Rochester. So expect that Thursday around the same time, around 10 o'clock. But I will be back tomorrow to talk about this fraud shit and to talk about some other shit, whatever happens today. We're going to talk about it. So with that being said, win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place.
Yeah. Here we go. Season 4. I guess I'll take a moment to reflect. Sometimes you gotta cut throats to cut the checks. If money is the root of all evil, then I'm possessed. I'm nowhere near perfect yet, I did my best. Nowhere near perfect, yeah, I confess. To teach me how to fly, mama pushed me out the nest. Me, I'm just living life, lit like the Christmas lights. I hope you copy everything I do so you can get it right. All my dogs eat, grab a salsa and the kitchen knife to ride on my hip. I'm just waiting for a fish to bite. If you feel froggy, leap at me, please. I keep a pair of George with me, 223s. I swear that ends well. I hope heaven knows I meant well. I hope heaven knows. I hope heaven knows. I hope heaven knows. If I ever had a grudge, I'm never letting go. Sticking to the script, same nigga every episode. Even though I don't follow rules, I respect the code. Of course I'm cold-hearted, I was raised by an Eskimo. Either you a rider or you not, nigga, yes or no. Say you hard body in my way, you a stepping stone. Call a spade while I'm shuffling